Hello, 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 and welcome, everybody. This is Dr. Barry, MD, back again for another show, another exciting podcast today. I'm sure you guys have been kind of following me on the Instagram and interwebs. Of course, my blog at www.controlyourweight, and that's weight spelled W8.com. We have a lot of new information out there, and the most recent post was kind of something I've been interested in lately, and that's about meditation. And now, because I'm kind of still kind of in the early stages of kind of understanding more about meditation and mindfulness and some of the amazing ways that meditation can help improve your overall health and wellness. And that's been scientifically proven, by the way. You can check the blog out for more details on that. We decided to get an expert here, someone who's extremely well versed in these avenues of meditation and relaxation techniques. And let me go ahead and introduce her. Her name is Mrs. Nicole Peralta, right? And she is a yoga expert. Now, why don't you tell us a little more about yourself, Nicole, and kind of what got you into yoga and kind of what led to your journey to get to this point of kind of getting to that. I don't know if you're a yogi or what's the official term for a master yoga practitioner, if you will.
Yeah, so I got into yoga pretty much a year after I graduated from college, and I just realized that if I was going to manage my stress and work-related stress, that going to happy hours and complaining with my coworkers was not going to be a sustainable way
exactly. And that's actually
for me to exist.
One thing I will say, that's something that, and unfortunately, that's a common way of dealing with stress. People don't really understand kind of some of the dangers of excessive alcohol use or drug use or any kind of prescription drug use for that matter to deal with emotions can have long-term effects that maybe people don't realize till it's too late. So that's why I'm glad you brought that up. That's one thing I've noticed as well in the medical field of people coming in and they're having these issues because of how they manage their stress, and it was some sort of unhealthy habit, and then before you know it, they have a medical issue that they are now trying to deal with. So go ahead and continue, please.
Yeah, so I stumbled upon yoga at a YMCA, and it was an all-levels class, and I just really enjoyed it. I actually utilize yoga as a complement as a runner, so
nice. Were you running like professionally or track or did you run like in college?
Just for fun.
Okay.
I just picked up running in college my
Awesome.
senior year, and then I started training for 5Ks, 10Ks, and half marathons and triathlons. So I utilize that as a way to complement my exercise. So I looked at it as a stretching mechanism and also just to deal with stress.
Yeah. Running, it's funny too you mentioned that because I'm actually I got into running, but kind of by force. I played soccer a lot when I was in high school.
Yeah.
So our coach made us run cross country, and I used to hate running back then. But then I was not in the best of shape, so which is actually a whole different story in itself. But we can talk about that later. But anyway, so running, I've later learned to love now. I do it regularly, and even though I had some issues with running too, which more like joint related issues. So I'm not the youngest person out here. So I was trying to explore different ways I can continue maintaining my cardiovascular activity, but at the same time, push myself and really challenge myself, which I think I did try to do with running. And that's actually why I've been, getting more and more interested in yoga. Now, I've done yoga casually here and there, but, I haven't really, taking it seriously, like doing it regularly and kind of taking it, really, seriously as far as, dedicating, regular intervals to it so I can make sure I can and try to gain some of those benefits that people are experiencing. Now, so tell me more about some of your clients. Like, I know you've been yoga for a while, so you probably have a lot of different stories you can relay about people you've interacted with, and then how they've kind of let you know the changes that they've experienced in their life, you doing more kind of meditative techniques like yoga and things like that.
Yeah, definitely. So, I'm in my 5th year of teaching yoga, and what's very interesting here about Houston is that yoga can be like different things to different people.
Absolutely.
So some of my clients are very serious yogis, and they want to do the most complicated arm balances, headstands,
pretzel poses,
they're like very fitness oriented.
Exactly. Okay.
And then I also work with populations where this may be their first time to ever do yoga.
Yeah.
So
but I think a lot of people are intimidated by the whole concept of meditation. They think it's some sort of. Some people think it's a different religion. You're like somehow becoming, some sort of a heathen or something. But that's what people don't understand. That because unfortunately, a lot of religions have kind of co-opted a lot of the techniques and adopted them to their own practice. So people kind of associate it. But the idea of just kind of just achieving a state of peacefulness and relaxation. It's literally, a completely, secular concept. You're not literally worshiping it, but you're literally just trying to clear your mind of everything and trying to learn how to relax. And yoga is unique because, it incorporates physical activity into it as well. So you can try to work on your breathing and relaxation while at the same time stretching and strength training, which is something that you don't see too many activities where you can really kill two birds with one stone, if you will.
Exactly.
And so that's kind of why, yoga, of course, is gaining more popularity over and over. Not that it hasn't been popular for millennia, literally. I mean, many different, ancient practices from even ancient Africa to even, of course, Asia, and they have long, histories of yoga and different, similar kind of practices and like that. So the modern kind of version, if you will, is kind of what's kind of getting this new attention because all this new data has come out. I don't know if you're familiar with some of the research. There's actually a study that came out of Johns Hopkins. Computer just died. Okay. Anyway, so also from a study from I got from Johns Hopkins about how yoga had shown actual improvements in patients' health and well-being, decreased levels of stress, decreased levels of inflammation, just from engaging in regular activities and meditation. This is just simply meditating. Not even talking about doing the yoga part. Just simply meditating and relaxing for 15 minutes a day regularly. People were seeing such improvements in various body parts, including immune system improvements and cardiovascular health and blood pressure. It became like almost as effective as prescription medication.
Yes.
And so. So tell me more about that. I mean, do you see any patients I keep saying patients, excuse me, guys, but any clients or whoever you interact with, any kind of stories of kind of life improvement benefits they've
definitely
able to achieve? Go ahead.
So I've been working with a group of elderly clients that are in their 60s to their 80s, starting in January, and it's a chair yoga class where all my yoga classes always start with a meditation. Okay. And for this chair yoga class, a lot of them cannot move in the traditional sense of a yoga class where you're on your mat. Mm-hmm. So all of our moves are in a chair. Oh, really? And a lot of them suffer from diabetes, arthritis, and they do suffer from stress. And they're a retired community, so I think a lot of it is not only is that connection with other people and encouraging them, but also they get to connect with themselves. And I think that's the biggest goal. So the relationship between yoga and meditation it was invented back in India so that really hyperactive teenage boys who were trying to learn to be better meditators had a physical activity to calm them down. Okay. So that's why yoga was invented, so they could be better meditators. Okay, interesting. And so a lot of it gets lost in the westernized culture, and a lot of us focus in on the physical and don't realize like there is a sense of higher consciousness.
It is absolutely.
With it. And for me myself, like that's how I looked at it. It's like, oh, this is a way to stretch and it's injury prevention as a runner, and I'll calm myself down. And that kind of mindfulness and calm and peace is a lot easier for a lot of westernized populations to connect to versus I'm going to sit here for 5 minutes and not do anything. Definitely.
And I think that's a pretty good distinction as far as kind of how the different kind of, even the base information as far as the different techniques and the whole idea of kind of concentration is kind of similar, but it's kind of adapted to kind of fit the climate, the cultural climate, if you will, of the different populations that are, trying to adopt it. So the overall, I think, you said a lot of great things as far as why, yoga is so helpful and why it's done a lot of helpful things. But what about, are you familiar with the whole concept behind mantras and, meditation mantras and kind of some of the importance behind that? Or that's one thing I kind of briefly hinted on earlier in my article, but wanted to kind of focus more because there's a lot of, because I was looking briefly into that, and I saw a lot of kind of, really, really extensive, information out there on mantras and different mantras, different views, and kind of some of the benefits. Because I thought it was more of a kind of a focusing, kind of, I guess, the thing you could focus on during meditation to help kind of clear the mind and focus and things like that. So tell me more about kind of
definitely
your opinion on those and how you can use those to help meditation.
So for me, I always share a mantra or an intention in my yoga classes and in the guided meditation. And what it is centering around an empowering vision or empowering thought. And by utilizing a mantra, you focus in on just one thing that you want to work on or improve on into this higher consciousness. So it can just be something like, I am love, or I am peace. And by utilizing your thoughts, it leads to the words that you speak to yourself and the words that you speak to others, and it leads to your actions and the tiny little decisions that you make each day. And from that, your choices lead to your destiny. So that's how powerful a mantra can be.
Interesting. I mean, I agree, because I think the whole concept of kind of speaking things into existence is extremely real. And that's one thing that people kind of chalk up to the just kind of, conspiracy theory or whatever, some kind of, I don't know what the
secret
or BS
or, yeah.
But the reality is, if you speak at something, you can say something and manifest it just by, because when you speak something, you truly usually try to live it. That's usually part of your life, what you're doing, what you're about. When you're saying things or trying to affirming things, that's just human nature. Once you say things and you think of something as a truth, you're going to probably live according to that truth. So that's why it's, that whole idea of learning how to focus and then adopting concepts you want to try to, evolve, I guess, in your life. Or
exactly.
Make it a center point of focus in your life can easily be something that can ultimately be manifested if you're able to, work toward that. So that's something that people don't really talk about now. Of course, it's a complex, it's obviously a new concept, but something that, as far as in modern times, it's not really kind of, it's not really discussed a lot, because I think there's so many distractions out there. People are always worried about everything else. The idea of kind of sitting down and looking at inwards and focusing on your own kind of body is such a crazy idea.
Right.
Unless it's Instagram related, because you want to get your makeup right or something else, superficial. So that's why I think the mantra concept was pretty fascinating to me in general. And I was curious whether or not you've known if the concepts or the different mantras that exist, are, I guess if they're, if there's any controversy, basically, as far as mantras and how they're used and whether or not, let's really, for instance, there's one mantra I saw about the money chant or something like that. So you can say this, you can hope for more money now. Some people may say, hey, that's great, I'm broke, I would love some more money. So others may say, well, that's kind of, a little bit greedy, you only chant about money all day. Is that really a focus we should be, focused on? So do you have any of those controversies, I guess, in the whole community regarding mantras, or if it's more a personal issue, or is there any kind of idea?
I haven't really seen a lot of that where there's a hard line on that. As a yoga teacher, I'm very fortunate to work for studios that just really want me to be myself and be authentic with whatever mantra or belief that I have. And just as long as it's something about gaining higher consciousness, becoming a better human in whatever way, and just looking at yoga as a lifestyle instead of just the physical practice. I haven't really seen anything where people are like, oh, you're worshiping another deity. And the funny thing is, because I grew up Catholic, I feel like there's a lot of parallels. There's lighting of the candles, there's being quiet.
Actually, hold that thought. That's actually an excellent concept. We're going to go right back to that. And we're going to take a commercial break.
Sure.
And so let's come back after the break, and we'll go more into that very topic. Thank you guys for listening. This is Dr. Barry again, just after the break, so we can get more into this controversial topic, and stay tuned. All right, everybody, I'm back. Appreciate you guys hanging with us after the break. Again, we have our in-house yogi today. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, we are recording live in studio, so it's actually a pretty special occasion. But again, I want to reintroduce Mrs. Nicole Peralta, a yoga expert, if you will. She's here to tell us more about yoga, meditation, and kind of what it's about, and kind of why it's something that we should all consider maybe looking more into going forward. So again, after the last segment, we kind of mentioned something that was, I think, pretty, interesting. It definitely comes from controversial, but I think something that we need to talk about a little bit more. And that's more about how there's some parallels between some of these, meditative kind of practices and some of the, religious practices that are done in a lot of these, organized religions. So expound more on that, if you will.
Sure. Because I grew up as a Catholic, I feel like there's a lot of tools that we were given just to be more quiet and to go inwards. Just like people pray the rosary and they have their beads to count their prayers. yogis practice utilizing mala beads where they count and they use a mantra.
Exactly.
And they, repeat these prayers over and over again.
I think there's a lot of small, short prayers that repeated a lot in Catholicism, and it's very similar to the whole mantra concept, which, relaxing, close your eyes, repeating. That's kind of a similar kind of idea of getting people to focus, but kind of if you could, in that era, it would be like a mainstream version of,
exactly.
that. So it just kind of, again, different eras, different practices for different people. So that's kind of what people, sometimes don't understand and don't, assume that something is, because they don't understand it, they think it's vastly different and completely foreign to what they're used to. When in reality, there's a lot of similarities, probably more than there are differences. But anyway, so
definitely.
So anything else? Is that something you've noticed as far as different people who come to you, especially of different faiths? They may ask, "Hey, what's going on with yoga? I'm kind of practicing, but I've heard things,
Yeah,
Or is there any kind of overall advice you give them as far as how they should approach it or what they should expect? And
Yeah, usually what people ask me about are like just unfamiliar things, like why at the end of a yoga class we say Namaste. And
now, are you praying to some demon god or something? I'm just joking.
No, and it's an interesting question because sometimes I'm like, what are we saying when you ask me to do that? And people always have a choice to participate in that. And basically, Namaste just means light inside of me bows down and humbly recognizes a light in you. Okay,
that sounds beautiful. So I don't know who would be upset with that unless you didn't know what it was.
Yeah,
it's kind of the basis of most hate. Let's be honest.
Exactly.
But ultimately, though, I think the key is people just need to understand what's going on, kind of try to explore different things, and try to learn more. That's usually, I think, kind of the solution to a lot of issues. People just kind of really explore, and you'll be shocked that there's a lot of things that are out there that are pretty kind of familiar, but you just don't realize it yet. I kind of do a lot of that with food too. A lot of people see different cuisines. They'll say, "Oh, that looks weird," but really it's just kind of starch and a little bit of protein. But they don't understand kind of because it's prepared differently, so it's now foreign. And so I think understanding different things from different foreign concepts and kind of looking at similarities, and you realize a lot more similarities than differences. So thanks for bringing that up. So now then, let's move on to the next topic. And kind of what I want to do with this podcast too, just let people know about kind of the importance of yoga and or meditation, if you will. And yoga is just one of those. There's a lot of different kinds. If you're a Tai Chi practitioner or Buddhist practitioner, there's a lot of different formations of yoga, and just regular meditators. People like to sit down, relax, and just be quiet. It's really kind of a similar and really the same thing. You have understanding how to kind of calm yourself down and really teach your body how to relax, and even a stressful situation. That's kind of the overall goal, and that's where we see the scientific benefits, and that's kind of why I want people to get a better understanding of why meditation is important and kind of how to do it correctly. So so basically, I want to give you a few tips on meditation, and I have an expert here to feel free to correct me whenever you say something crazy. That's why you're here. So so I just wanted to kind of stress a couple points. So the first thing you should do, I think, as a someone who's looking to kind of start meditating and say, screw it, I'm tired of doing all this crazy stuff. I really need to relax, learn how to relax, teach myself how to relax and control my overall mental activity. You want to kind of find somewhere quiet, right? Just a relaxed, quiet location. Kids are screaming, put them away somewhere, even if it's in the bathroom or somewhere in your bedroom or just even in the closet, if you will, even if it's that bad. Just find somewhere you can really, remove the external, noise. You have any additional as far as noise or kind of location, points on that? Like, where do you like to meditate, or where do you like to typically go?
I feel like I have to do it in the morning because I just try to wake up a little earlier than usual, and I just start off in the morning. And honestly, I keep it simple: 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and sometimes it's in my bed, and I don't even get out of my bed to do it. Okay, so
you're sleeping, or are you actually
I am.
I'm just joking. And some people will do that right before they go to bed, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just kind of teasing. Because people see the stereotypical, the fancy poses, with that's for the advanced practitioners. So you don't have to feel so if you're not doing this, somewhere over an ocean somewhere, you're not meditating. That's just marketing and gimmicks. At the end of the day, in your bed, relax, kind of in your own thoughts, trying to calm yourself down is a perfect meditation, scenarios. But as long as you relax and your mind is at peace, that's really the goal. So the whole location thing is more for Instagram, honestly, at the end of the day. But it's still, not don't get it wrong. Now, if you're over an ocean somewhere, relax in Hawaii, hey, that's a fantastic place to meditate. But it's not required. That's kind of the overall point. So it's good. So, and that kind of leads to the next point. By the way, I'm reading off the blog, controlyourweight.com. Check it out there if you want to get more information. It's just kind of written down. There's 100 million meditative guides. I've linked some of those as well on the blog. You can go to So just feel free to go on the site if you want more information or to follow along with the show. Again, the next step is time and routine. Now, you mentioned how you do it in the mornings. That's kind of, I think a popular time because it's something that you're going to be alone and kind of by yourself. And most people are sleeping around you, hopefully, so you can really get that quiet time that a lot of people don't, have trouble finding during the day. Do you have any other kind of tips regarding time? Like, I've heard you can set it regularly. Like, what are some of the things you tell your clients?
So the next tip, if you can't do it in the morning, is to find what works for your schedule. And so a couple of things. Some people prefer to do it right before they go to bed. Okay. The only problem for some people is they fall asleep when they meditate. Another second time that... And
just real quick, one thing a lot of people have trouble with is insomnia. That's a big issue. Yeah. So that's actually a great way to help calm yourself down and go to sleep.
Exactly.
That's why there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually an excellent way to help yourself sleep is meditation and relaxing and breath control. And a lot of people are popping Ambiens, unfortunately, every night or taking 20 beers to the head because they really can't relax. Meditation's a great, alternative. Now, again, everyone's results are different, but I think there's a lot of success out there with the practice. So, and so you were saying at night and any other kind of popular time?
So another popular time, if you're a busy person who works, most people have like a 10 or 15-minute break. And I call it the tea or coffee meditation.
Absolutely.
So instead of getting your coffee to go, see what it feels like to actually just sit down and drink a cup of coffee or a cup of tea for 15 minutes without listening to anything, playing with your phone, and try that.
Absolutely, that's an excellent idea. I tell people to go if they're at work and they just get stressed out, then go to their car for 15 minutes or 20 minutes, or go to the break room, or somewhere they can just get some peace and quiet. And now if you're going in the car and turning up Migos and rocking out, I mean, clearly, you can do that too. But if you really want to calm yourself down and really kind of get that boost of energy for the rest of the day, meditation is an excellent alternative just to help you kind of relax and clear the mind so that you can really be a little more focused and sharper than you would normally would if you're stressed out from, or fatigued from constant stress. Now, the third thing, is learning how to determine your focus. And that's one thing I want people to understand about meditation. Meditation is really learning how to focus or really just concentrate all of your energies on a single concept or thought or action, just to kind of teach your mind how to basically clear itself of everything else so that you can really, the goal is to clear the mind. So I tell people a lot of times, if they're interested in meditation, kind of the base thing you could do as someone who just wants to learn how to relax is just focus on your breathing. And that's something that's pretty commonly done. So tell me more about kind of focusing, because I think some people think that, if you don't have, like a certain mantra, or if you don't have a certain kind of, thing to think about, it's kind of hard to really focus or really get to that focus.
Sure.
Do you have any tips or things you tell your clients that they should do to help them get to the mind state to really, get to that mental clarity that they're trying to achieve with their focus?
Yeah, so actually I really struggled with the classic traditional meditation for a very long time.
Okay.
So one of the things that they always talk about is utilizing the breath and anchoring into the breath.
Okay.
But I've taken it to other places. I started taking up watercoloring and using 20 minutes of watercoloring. Only simply because it's a very difficult medium, so you actually have to pay attention to what's happening on the page. And anything where you can ground down into a physical sense, either the sound of your breath, maybe using an essential oil, using the sense of smell to ground down. I've even taught chocolate meditations.
Really? What are you doing, like making chocolate while meditating?
You just get a piece of chocolate and you utilize the five senses. You look at the chocolate, you smell the chocolate, you sit down quietly and eat that piece of food as slowly as possible.
Interesting. That sounds actually pretty awesome.
Yeah, and it's a very popular class.
The only thing I'm worried about it. Now, me as a physician, I'm worried about obesity. Like, people go, okay, let me just keep meditating. We're eating chocolate. We're eating 1,000 calories here. Right. So that definitely sounds amazing. I can't even lie. But, just be careful with the calorie content and be careful with your overall. I'm actually, full disclosure, I'm actually a big weight loss person. So I'm all about calorie content. But that sounds fantastic, because I think the focus concept is, if you're a chocolate lover, that would be an excellent way to kind of focus on something you're really into, and then really kind of allow that to be
to
the
slow
venue
down.
where you can slow down and really learn how to relax. And that's actually a pretty innovative concept. I really like that. I would definitely. I don't know if that's something that, if that's what level of yoga that is, or what level of meditation that is, or if
it's actually
a beginner,
entry level.
Oh, really? Awesome.
Because the way I see it is that we're not mindful about what we eat.
That's definitely the case, and that's actually one of my biggest things. Mindful. Actually, like one thing I talk about a lot is how people basically are mindless eaters. They just kind of eat and eat.
Yes,
think about it.
Definitely.
And then before you know it, oh God, I've consumed 2,000 calories just casually here. And I wasn't even hungry. And that's really what the crux of obesity, especially I think in Western diets and Western culture.
Exactly.
Is casual eating. And I'm definitely not a saint. I will definitely, fall victim to that as well. But the key is understanding the concepts of, what you're putting in your mouth and how it's affecting you and what it's composed of. And that's part of it, really being aware of what you're eating. And that's really awesome. You guys are integrating that with
and that's the insight.
Let people focus. For sure. That's
my students have shared. They're like, if I actually just slow down and focus on chewing my food, I can actually enjoy it and realize I don't have to consume so much.
Definitely. That's and one thing people don't know, that's what I tell people a lot too about slowing down when they're eating, because it helps your body kind of relax, and if your body can adjust to whatever you're doing. So if you're just overeating, eventually your stomach will stretch out, your sense of hunger and everything will be adjusted, so you can be used to eating that, and your metabolism will be adjusted. So you have to be careful. That's why what you're thinking and what you're kind of bring to the universe, if you will. Now, I sound like you over here, but whatever you're thinking and speaking out, makes you can manifest that. That's why it's important you understand about eating and what you're putting in your bodies and what you're putting, how many calories you're consuming, and kind of all those concepts. That's all important as far as establishing that better state of wellness, which hopefully everyone's trying to achieve. Not that everyone's perfect, but at the same time, as long as you're trying to get to that point of improvement, that's always going to be better than just not trying. And that's unfortunately what a lot of people are doing. So great. So and my last tip here, of course, is get a professional, which is what I did. Follow advice, and we have one here. So hopefully you can reach out to Nicole Peralta. Excellent. I think where do you do your yoga? So I know people want to maybe reach out to you.
Sure.
Tell me where they can find you, where you at, what's going on.
Yeah. So the two places that I teach mostly out of is through Black Swan Yoga.
Okay.
And they have a location off of Kirby, and a location off of White Oak, and the other studio I work for is Yogalina, which is at the intersection of Westheimer and Shepherd.
Okay, great. Yeah. So do you have classes anywhere regularly?
So
or do you have an Instagram they can
my Instagram account will post my schedule weekly. Great. It's Art Yoga Play.
Art Yoga Play, great. That's very simple, all one word, I'm guessing. Right? So Art Yoga Play. So check her out on Instagram at Art Yoga Play. Excellent. I know a lot of quality people recommended me to her. That's why she's here. And I have not taken her class yet, full disclosure, but I will be taking a class. I'm definitely so
yes, please come by.
I'm definitely excited for that, and I'm sure that just judging by what she's told us here and kind of what she shared with us, that she's definitely, I think, equipped to really help any person of any level really achieve whatever level of yoga mastery they're looking for. And I'm just saying, just try the basics. Don't have to go too crazy, but if you love it and you really get into it, then the sky's the limit. You can really. There's people who've been practicing for thousands of years. So there's so much information out there. You can really decide kind of however you want to approach it and really just make it fit your own routine. So that being said, one more thing I want to mention. Two cool apps. I don't know if you do any of the apps things, but I'm a big tech person, so I like to tell people about apps they can use as well.
Definitely.
There's one real cool app that I saw and play with recently. It was really exciting, called the Calm app. It really helps more with the breathing, the breathing and the kind of mindfulness kind of exercises, which that I think is very beneficial as well. So check that out on the iOS store and on Android. So that's a good one, and also the Headspace app. Again, all these recommendations can be found on the blog at controlyourweight.com. Again, just want to thank you, Nicole, for coming out. Anything else you want to share? Any kind of other tips or tricks, or you kind of shared a lot of great information already. So I don't know if you have any final words before we close out tonight.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just to keep it simple. And definitely. Just give it 5 minutes. Exactly. Everyone has 5 minutes somewhere in their day.
Exactly. Perfect. Absolutely. Yeah. 5 minutes is more than enough to really start the process, and it doesn't take much at all. I would just encourage everybody to start somewhere, and and if you need help, there's a lot of professionals out there who can help you. I think is there any directories or anything for folks to look up yoga or local meditation?
Yeah. So I know that there's meditation classes through Yoga One.
Okay.
And they also have a center called the Zen Center. over in the Heights area of town as well.
Okay. And this is just for the Houston area listeners. Check those out. For those on the internet, just check your local directories, and I'm sure you can definitely find a lot of practitioners out there, wherever you're at, really in the world, who can kind of lead you onto this yoga or meditation kind of journey. Again, thanks a lot for coming out, Nicole. Appreciate you. Thanks for all the listeners out there. Appreciate you guys listening, and of course, the SoundCloud listeners, appreciate you guys as well. Thanks a lot, everybody. And again, thanks for listening. Another great show of the Dr. Barry Health and Wellness Podcast. Thanks.